Alright, welcome to this set of videos. I have not edited these yet. I'm just recording this intro. Uh, I think it's going to be, the first video is going to be just kind of like the full overview, and then I'm going to like combine a bunch. I'm going to combine a few of the bosses into the second video, and then more into the third one. The third one hasn't been recorded yet. I'm going to probably do that Thursday, maybe. I'm trying to get these out now that beta is around the corner. By around the corner, I mean it's going to be out by the time these videos start coming out. Raid testing is going to be around the corner, and I want to get these videos out before they become irrelevant. So, yeah, how basically is going through. I've gone through and done a bunch of overviews of the bosses, kind of on like a higher level. I'll probably do that first, and then the second video will be the first, third, and fourth boss, because the second boss doesn't have any information. And I'm gonna just switch this here so it's less odd. I mean, yeah, but yeah. So it's gonna be, the first one's gonna be like the high overview kind of thing, and then the second one is going to be kind of going over the first, third, and fourth boss, and then the next one's gonna be going over the last four, probably either the last three or the last four. And then I might save Queen Ensrek for her own video. And the second boss isn't on here right now. So I'm going to probably have to record that separately. But I'm hoping within like the first week of beta going up to kind of get all these out. But they'll definitely be out before, it'll be finished before testing starts. But yeah, thanks for joining and enjoy the video. Okay, so I also have a notepad document. I'm gonna have up. Yeah, so we'll go through this together, read through stuff, come up with some strategies, and make some notes. I don't think my notes at this moment are going to be like super detailed. It's mainly just getting started, and then I'll expand upon them later. Not necessarily here because that can be less interesting. Kind of a bunch of bosses and whatnot. Let's take a look. 8-boss raid will be the culmination of the storyline of the Nerubian Empire and their leader, Queen Ensrek, as they followed down a dark and sinister path in an evolutionary alliance with Xal'atath the Harbinger. So I wonder if this, like, it sounds like this is only going to be, like, 11.0, and 11.1 is going to be something entirely different, and that, like, they're only going to be a threat for this. Which I get. Deep within the kingdom of Ajaket lies Nerub-ar Palace, Queen Ensrek's seat of power. From the shadowed throne, Queen Ensrek has tightened her grip on her Sureki. I don't know how to say half these words. Sureki followers, leading them along a dark path to a new future. As her paranoia grows, the members of her conspiratorial severed threads launch their final gambit against Ensrek's rule. Alright, so we have Ulgrex the Devourer, the Bloodbound Horror, Sikran, Captain of the Suruki, Rashanan, Egg Tender Ovanax, Nexus, Princess Kaivessa, the Silken Court, Queen Ensrek. So what if the Silken Court is going to be our council fight? Because I was kind of thinking, so I'm thinking, okay, so this is my prediction. And keep in mind, I haven't actually looked at any of the raid stuff. This is the first time looking at the raid stuff for the expansion that's coming out. So I'm just making some guesses here. I take some shots in the dark and we'll see how it goes. Ulgrex Devourer will be I'm going to say it'll be a single boss, and it's going to be like one phase, maybe two, probably. Just kind of trying to think back to other. You know what? We'll say 2-phase boss, because these tend to be a little more interesting than one phase. So it tends to be like kind of like 2 phases, but pretty much tank and spank. Maybe you do a little bit extra. Maybe there's like a couple extra mechanics that are in there, but it's pretty easy. But it'll definitely be a single boss. Bloodbound Horror, I'm going to say also probably going to be a single boss. Might be a little more complicated than Tank and Spank, with maybe some important mechanics, but still not too hard, eases us into things. Sigrid, captain of the Suruki, that's going to be an AoE fight, I think. I'm kind of thinking a little like in Aberrus. I'm trying to remember the name of the boss, but the boss that had a bunch of ads right before Red Shock. So I think it's going to be like that. It's going to be captain, and it's going to summon different ads that do different mechanics. And we're going to have to deal with it that way. And quite frankly, I don't like those fights. They're kind of irritating. But at the end of the day, usually the mechanics that they do are like not like we prioritize the order that they die, but the mechanics aren't like super important for the most part, at least not until you get to like maybe heroic, probably mythic. Rashadanan, I don't know. I just think of Rashok when I hear that name, so I'm immediately going tank fight. Maybe it's a tank fight. I hope it's a tank fight. That'd be fun. Also single boss. Egg Tender of an X. I'm going to say another AoE fight, kinda. So I'm thinking kind of like Broodkeeper, where we're gonna have to deal with eggs as we go and fight. As we go fight the boss, eggs hatch, and we have to go deal with them. I hope not, because that's just like a rehash of Broodkeeper. And that fight was okay. Okay, Nexus, Princess, Kieva. I think this might be kind of a wall. I'm thinking this might be our wall boss. Like, everything's gonna go fine, and then you're gonna hit 6, and you're gonna have to deal with that. But I don't know. Maybe like 3-phase boss, maybe. And then Silken Court. It's gonna be our council fight. There'll be like 3 bosses that we'll have to fight. And then Queen Ensrek is gonna be like 3-phase, 2 intermission. Let's say. That's my guess. That's my guess. Alright. So we'll kind of go through... I'm going to go through the zone preview and everything. And then we'll go through the bosses and just kind of see what each one is. And then kind of figure out how to deal with them. I just want to see how right I am on my guesses. So at the time of Alpha, we were unable to enter into our palace. Well, yeah. But these are some really pretty photos. I downloaded the press kit. I wonder if I have these photos. I must. It's definitely a lot of the same colors. Like, it looks cool. I just kind of wish that areas felt more distinct. Kind of like in Emir Drissel. Or hell, even Vault of the Incarnates actually had pretty distinct feeling areas. Oh, it's going to be a Taros fight. This has got to be the blood horror thing. It's going to be a Taros fight where we got to move around the room. I mean, I did say single thing. Yeah. I'm getting some Aberrus vibes here. Which, I mean, makes sense. It is kind of like a Voidy Underground raid. So, that makes sense. Don't super care about that. But there are 3 wings, it looks like. Next, the Devourer. Let's see what we got. Driven mad by endless hunger, Elgras is a ravenous protector of Queen Ensrek's court. Attempts to devour players with voracious hunger and uses vicious slobber to place pools of syrupy drool throughout the arena. At 0 energy, Olgrant goes mad with hunger and continues against application of Untamable Rage until returned to 100 energy. I'm assuming that we have to sacrifice players. Grows angrier with each hungering bellow. Gain 25% increased damage done for 30 seconds. Pulls random players into himself, inflicting damage and spewing webs onto them. After 8 seconds, anyone still within yards is devoured. Shoots webs. So we need people within melee range. We use, traps players, rooting them for 12 seconds. Players trapped suffer damage every 2 seconds. We break them out. Okay, so 2-phase. I was right on the 2-phase. That seems to be kind of what they go for generally. Alright, we're gonna come back to these and then do the strategies. Again, just taking a look to see how close. Yeah, we'll take a look at that in a little bit. In the dark pits below Nerub Palace, the blood of the old gods congeal in foul black pools. The bloodbound horror rises from this foul ooze, drawing everything in its path into the unseeming. Bloodbound horror vomits on their current target. Yeah, so 2 phases. Okay, so we have first phase dealing with the black blood. Phase 2, the unseeming. Lost Watcher channels essence of the unseeming. Forgotten Watcher manages a blood horror out of the unseeming that slowly moves towards the bloodbound horror. Okay, so it's like phase 1, we deal with the main boss, and then phase 2, we gotta go deal with a big ad that's gotta be tanked, and then you gotta deal with the little ads that are all gonna be summoned by the big ad, and we gotta go kill them and keep them from getting into the pool thing. Reminds me of the first boss, I want to say, of Siege of Orgrimmar, where like you're doing the thing, and then you gotta go and you gotta keep, you go and you're killing the main boss, and then phase 2, it like breaks apart into all the water orbs, and you gotta go and you gotta kill them and keep them from getting back to the boss. Kind of reminds me of that, so that's cool. All right, let's see. Sikarin, captain of the Sureki, born into a noble family. Sikarin establishes himself as an arrogant duelist within Queen Ensric's court, never knowing the cut of an enemy's blade. Sikarin dispatches his rivals one by one and was proclaimed captain of Sureki by the queen herself. This indomitable fighter now ensures that any who threaten the throne fall before his weight. Oh, weapons. Shit. We have 2 different weapon phases to deal with, I guess. Dual swords. Breaking Surekian tethers inflict. So I was wrong on this one. 2 out of 3 so far is not bad. But it's not ads, it's polearms. Or not polearms, it's weapons. Dual swords and polearms. So that's kind of cool. Kind of like what's her face in Emir Drissel. I've already forgotten her name. But with the weapons, second boss. Rashanan. Twisted by Queen Ensric's experiments, Rashanan was transformed from a proud Nerubian into a monstrous winged horror. Trapped within her new form, shattered memories of her former self drive Rashanan into an unquenchable rage. Wounded during the events of the Dawnbreaker, Rashanan fled to Nerub-ar Palace, beginning the encounter there, 100% health. As the encounter progresses, she positions in the arena, pelting players from above with caustic rain. Ooh. So, on this difficulty, whatever this difficulty is, kind of feels like a single phase. I'm like only just kind of flying through, reading it. Just, yeah. Alright, let's go to Egg Tender. Deep in the bowels of the Queen's palace, Egg Tender conducts abominable experiments with the black blood found in Ajakat. This corrupulent horror lumbers through the palace's cavernous depths, regurgitating inky sludge onto hatchlings to observe its gruesome effects. Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's pretty horrific. I like it. Just vomiting inky sludge onto the eggs. It's like, what happened? Okay, so we do have the different things that happen. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. Like, vomits on the eggs, and then, or the hatchlings, and then sees what happens, and then, like, they turn into things. So I wonder if we can control. Like, if it's affected by what... Yeah, I wonder, like, if we can tank... So if we can, like, tank this boss in, like, different spots, and if it's, like, based on what it vomits onto, or if it's just, like, random. Coming into contact with black blood overflow mutates colossal spiders, increasing hell. Mutates colossal spiders. Oh, okay, I see what it is. Okay, so vomits on these things, but this isn't what they become. This is what they are, and then vomits. Okay. So voracious worms increasing all damage done. Okay, so I think we can probably move around. That's cool. All right, come back to this, of course. Next is Princess Kaiveza. Kaiveza arrived at Nerub-ar Palace only recently, quickly establishing herself as a confidant to Queen Ensric. However, rumors abound within the inner court, say she may harbor a dark and deadly secret if discovered. The princess preferred to dispatch all witnesses without mercy. Kaiveza marks targets for their assassination, while haunting other phantoms emerge from her shadow to mirror the massacre. Ooh. Upon 200 energy, invokes Starless Nights, phantoms slaughter her enemies in the darkness. So, 2-phase fight. With ads to kill. There is phase 1, there is a lot to deal with. And phase 2, less so. Listen to the air, and then so this will be an immune phase, and then we gotta go deal with ads. Cool. Alright. Let's take a look at Silken Court. Yeah, this is how many bosses? 3. Nope. 2. And then Transition Void Ascension. Okay. Scarab Lord and Nerub-ar and Skin Spinner, Takesh. Why are these names so hard to pronounce? Alright. Are among Queen Ansric's most trusted advisors. There are gonna be some. You know what? We're gonna nickname these bosses as we go through and do the strats. So we're gonna nickname bosses. That's what we're gonna do. I want to call him Skin Spinner. Tackies. I don't know. I don't know why. The name just reminds me of the Tackies or Tackus. I think it's pronounced Tackus. So Skin Spinner Tackus. Are among Queen Ansric's most trusted advisors. Yet these two powerful Nerubians harbor a hatred for each other even more powerful than their loyalty to the throne, while unleashing their considerable strength onto their enemies. Each is also fighting to ensure their counterpart does not survive. Does this mean we get help when they're not there? Okay, I need to see. I need to see this. Before I move on. Scribbler pierces its target. Damage. Sting, Swarm, Ambush unleashes swarms of insects at 3 players. Reckless Charge unleashes up before you charge forward. Unleashes something. Before he charges forward, inflicting a bunch of damage, knocking back any player in the way. Releases a shockwave if he collides with a wall. So it kind of seems like we want to keep him at the edge of the room, and then hopefully he doesn't. Charges forward, inflicting nature damage, knocking back any player in the way. Releases a shockwave if he collides with the wall. So we want him to collide with something else. Probably his target? I don't know. Or knocking back and removing binding webs from all players in 0 yards. That's cool. We get to use that, I assume. Yeah, web bomb. Explosive webs at players does damage. More, knocking back and removing binding webs from all players. Impaling Eruption. And you unleashes a cone of spikes. Moving from the ground, inflicting nature damage on all players in front of him with Impaled. Impales a player on a spike, inflicting damage, and stunning the player until the spike is destroyed. So you gotta break out your friends just like spears. So it kind of seems like they don't help each other. Or not help each other, but like they don't help us. So how do they ensure that the other one doesn't live? I mean, I guess he does with Roar. Web-ripping Roar, and then gets rid of any webs. Beats overloads your player with poison, causing them to explode, removing Stinging Swarm. Yeah, so the Stinging Swarm from here is removed with Venomous Explosion. So that's cool. It's your typical council behavior. I like that there's only 2 bosses, though. Grasp of the Void. Stage 3. Yeah, so there's a lot. A new brush. Okay, so you get them down to a certain percent, and then you fight them like individually. So I guess they're fought at the same time. And then, which makes sense. And then you only fight one. Get them down to like 0% or some low percent or something. And then probably dead. And then the next one. Kind of sucks that we can't pick, though. I think it'd be fun to be able to pick which one. Unless that's what this is. Shatter Existence. Well, Shield holds, spins 8 cones of web. We're going to come back to this. I just wanted to see how the council stuff worked. As boss, Queen Ansric. After a revelation of traitors in her court, Queen Ansric decides she must eradicate the palace's invaders herself. However, paranoia over whom she can trust gnaws at her psyche. With her allies dwindling, Queen Ansric may delve into dark powers to attain victory, even if that means her most loyal soldiers become her next meal. As the battle begins, Ansric ejects Reactive Frost, attempts to detonate it. Another player breaks her web shield, ascending to a private chamber, call reinforcements, bunch of ads. When players breach her private chamber, so yeah, go after her. Cool. That's neat. How many phases? A Queen's Venom, first intermission, Spider's Web, Stage 2, Royal Ascension, and these are the different ads. So only 1 intermission, thankfully, but 3 phases here, Paranoia's Feast. So I was pretty close. So thank you for joining on this stream, or if you are watching on YouTube, thank you for watching this first video. I'm probably gonna edit this out and just combine everything into one, but thought I'd record an outro anyway, just in case. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, and see y'all tomorrow.